Hey guys, Ethan here. I wanted to go over today Arch Linux's new installation media that they just put out a couple days ago. I believe it was still in April, like April 4th or something when they threw this out. So I wanted to go over it really quickly because it's really interesting. And it's probably a big deal for a lot of people now. So if you just go to archlinux.org and head to the download page, you'll see first things first, the release notes say that the installation medium now provides a guided installer, so you can head over here. Though you can still use, like it says, the default method of installation, so you can still use their install guide, which is still good and it still works, so that's nice. But right here, you'll see the package is called Arch Install. So if you go ahead and grab their new installation medium, or I guess it's media, my bad. You can grab the torrent or however you want to get yours. I believe the version that I'm using right now is 2021.04.01. But anyways, if you go ahead and start your Arch Linux installation now, whether this is on hardware or a virtual machine like I am, we'll head into the boot. Alright, let's select the DVD. So we're just going to boot up regular, and I'm actually going to zoom this in now so you can see it better. Alright, so here we are. So inside of the installation media, we can now just type arch install, and it'll execute that binary that it was talking about. And now we can start by putting in some stuff. So we're going to say first things first, I'm in the US, and that's the keyboard language I want, so we're going to type 21. And then it's going to ask us where we are in the world. That's the United States. Which disk do we want to install on? VDA, of course. And the cool part is now you can choose the file system, but you can say between the 4 options that come installed. So BTRFS, ext4, F2FS, and XFS. I know a lot of people like to use F2FS, but I'm more of a BTRFS guy myself, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Disk encryption comes built in, though I'm not going to use it this time, so we're just going to leave this blank. The host name for the installation is going to be ArchVM. The root password, which I'm going to type in my usual password, and once more. Username. You can add an additional user, and then a password for that user. And when it asks you, should this user be super user, you want to say yes, because the user, what it means by is this user a super user is like, can they use sudo? I tested this last night before making this video, and you have to manually add yourself to the sudo file if you don't say yes to being super user. It also comes with some choices for like a graphical environment, so I'm going to go with KDE because it seems to be the most basic of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and say 3. And for the graphics driver, I'm using VirtIO, but I think I need to choose one of these. I don't know if you can just choose whichever, so I'm going to go ahead and say Mesa. That seems to be the go-to. Additional packages for install. You can actually leave this blank now. Before or after installing your system, you'd have to go through and you'd have to install Network Manager straight away. But in this one, you don't actually need to. So you can select what network device you want. I want ENP1S0, and I want to be using DHCP. Time zone, America, Los Angeles. Boom, and now it's going to show us the entire script. So I mean, since we're in a TTY, you can't exactly scroll up, or at least not to my knowledge, without something like Tmux. But it goes through and it shows you all of the settings in case you want to cancel. But once you have it, it's going to go through and start the install in a nice way. So what's cool about this is you can make all of these changes and see if they're valid before actually starting. So you prevent yourself from potentially ruining the system or messing up on an install option. One thing though is I'm not sure if you're able to set up a dual boot on a partition using this installer, because from what I know it just wipes the full disk and partitions it. So it seems like if you want to get more precise and you want to make like a new install on the same drive that you already have something on, you're going to have to do the manual install, which is fine, but something to keep in mind. the actual process of installing takes a few moments. It takes longer than I believe a typical Arch Linux install would. But for the most part, it's pretty quick. I think it's the longest part is actually just installing the Xorg and KDE stuff. So I'll just get back when that's finished. Alright, so with all that being done, you can see what changes were made, and it only took about, it says, a minute to go through. So that's nice and good, so we can go ahead and reboot now. And there's a couple of things I wanted to look at after rebooting, so there isn't just a no reason to do it. This is important. So first things first, we installed Plasma X11, and that's what we got. So now booted into Plasma, if we take a look at the terminal, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up console. This is also the new version of Plasma. I believe this is 5.0 is what they released. First things first, if you go ahead and ping google.com, we can actually get a connection, and that's because instead of using the typical network manager that you might have used before, that's what I used to use before, we're now using systemd networkd, which the installation actually set up for us, which is nice. But I guess if you like systemd networkd, perfect. If you don't, you might have to go back, but regardless, it's not something that can't be changed, so there's no big deal. So besides that, there's also, I should actually reopen console. There's also the matter of being sudo. So if you type in your sudo password, this will just work, and that is because when we open up the sudoers file, we were added to the sudoers file with the installation by enabling sudo. So if that's something that you're interested in, then this is how you do it. But the installation should cover it for you as long as you set the user as sudo. So really, that's just about it. I mean, besides that, it's just Arch Linux and you're all booted up and ready to go. So the days of Arch Linux being scary to install and, oh, you need to do all this stuff and you might be daunted by the task, that's gone now because there's an installer. And if you're like me and you like to use the Arch Linux disk for, like, recovering another installation because it's so light or it has arch-ch root, don't worry, because you're still able to do that. This Arch installer script is pretty tiny on the system, so no big deal that way either. Basically, this is an all-around good thing, and if you were ever looking at installing Arch, this is now how you can do it. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like. If you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe. Join my Discord if you have any questions or just want to say hi. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.